Hello friends, well as you know I've been driving Macan loaners from Porsche for a few months now while my car's out being fixed, and this week I've got a special one. I've got a Macan Sport, which is quite a way up the price range in the Macan range. In fact, if you look at the Macan range, it starts with the base Macan, the 4-cylinder Macan, then it goes the 6-cylinder 3-litre S, and then strangely you get the Sport Macan, the car that we're talking about today, and then the GTS. So at that price point you must think, wow, the Sport Macan must be something pretty special if it's above an S and just below a GTS. Well, no, not really. It's more of a package model. That is, it's taking a base Macan and adding a bunch of package items and discounting them slightly. So it's no sportier or faster than a base Macan. And for that reason, I think it's not very good value for money. And you might say to me, well, Nick, hey, the GTS is a package model in most ways. It's just an S with a bunch of options on it. And that's a very popular, well-received car. And that's true. And in fact, these cars, the GTS and the Sport, are actually priced the same price point. That is $13,000 above the car that they're based on. And the GTS is very popular because most of the features you get in the GTS are features that people will add to an S anyway, so they like to get that discount. What's different about this car, of course, is that this is based on the base Macan, and why people like the base Macan is its price point. It is the cheapest Porsche you can buy. And so if you're struggling to get yourself into a Porsche and you really want a Macan, the base Macan's the way to go. It's the base Macan, there's nothing wrong with it, it's still a very lovely car. The biggest drawback of owning a base Macan is that you're getting the Volkswagen 2-litre turbocharged engine, which is not a very Porsche-like engine. It still motivates these cars perfectly fine, 250 horsepower, but above 60, 70 miles an hour, you start to feel it getting a little overwhelmed. And of course, it doesn't sound that great. It's a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine from Volkswagen, which actually sounds better, I think, in some of the Audis and Volkswagens than it does in this application, but it's fine. So what do we get for our $13,000 extras in this Sport pack? We get the 20-inch Spider wheels, the premium package, which has heated seats and Bose stereo and a few other bits and pieces. You get the Porsche Active Suspension Management with air suspension, Sport Chrono package, the Sports exhaust system, the sunroof, the navigation, and the Connect Plus. So you do get a lot of stuff. In fact, you get $18,000 worth of stuff for around $13,000 more. So that's why a lot of people say, oh, this is a bit of a bargain. But where that theory falls down, with a base Macan, you would never in a million years configure it with this many options. Particularly some of these options, like who would put a sports exhaust $3,000 on a base Macan? I'll demonstrate it in a minute. It really makes so little difference, you would never do it. Also, who would put the navigation in a base Macan? Who would put Connect Plus in a base Macan? Who needs Wi-Fi throughout a base Macan? There's so many options in the Sport Pack that you would never configure in a base Macan, because the base Macan's all about price point. People buy the base Macan because they want to get into a new Porsche Macan for around the $50,000. They don't want to spend $60,000 or $70,000, because if they did, they'd get a Macan S or a Macan GTS, which are far more performance and Porsche orientated cars. Okay, so let's take it out on the highway and we'll have a little talk about this engine. As you can see, it's not slow, but it doesn't really set your world on fire. It's adequate. Once you get up into 70, 80 miles an hour, she starts to struggle a little bit. And as for the sound, even with this $3,000 sports exhaust, so this is with the sports exhaust off. Turn it off now. So you really don't hear too much engine. We chop it down a bit. Yeah, it's very faint. Now I'm going to turn the sports exhaust on. So you're hearing noise from the engine, you're not hearing it from the exhaust, you're hearing it from up front, which makes me suspect that it is artificial sound. It's pumped into the cabin. As for how does it sound outside? It's okay. Is it worth $3,000? Absolutely not. Why anyone puts sports exhausts on Porsche SUVs is beyond me. But there you have it. I think one of the better options within this package is actually the air suspension and PASM. Unlike within the sports cars, the PASM does help with the ride quality, and so does the air suspension. The air suspension, you can notice a difference in ride quality, especially if you're driving over really bumpy roads where the air suspension just smooths out those roads a little bit. Is it worthwhile though? Well, at about $3,000, I'm not sure that I would bother having the air suspension in a base Macan. It does make a difference, but not $3,000 worth of difference to me. And of course then there's the Sport Chrono package, which gives you the clock and some software in the PCM, and also allows you to do launch control. If you're doing drag races in a base Macan, I'm not sure the 0.2 seconds improvement 0 to 60 is going to make too much of a difference. So my opinion overall of the Macan Sport Edition is, I say get yourself a base Macan and put the 1 or 2 features that you like on it, and save yourself $10,000. You're really not getting a massively sportier car by buying the Sports Edition, or pay $7,000 more than a base Macan and get yourself a Macan S, which is a far superior model in my opinion anyway. And interestingly, I actually watched a few other reviews of this car before I went out to see what other people think, and everybody else has the opposite opinion of me, where they say this is great value for money. So you may not listen to me. In fact, you can go and look at my friend Heidi's review from Heidi and Franny's garage. She loved this car. I'll put a link in the description below for an alternative point of view to mine. Go and watch her review as well. And one more thing that I'll say before I go, which I don't think has really been made public, and that is those of you that are looking to get the 2019 Macan, the refreshed Macan, particularly the Macan S, there has been a delay in getting those out here in the US. We won't actually be seeing those until later in the year, August, September at the earliest. So that's why a lot of people are still looking at the 2018 Macans, because they're available in dealerships. So yes, if you're looking to get this model, the Sport Edition, make sure you beat your dealership down a lot on price in order to make this worthwhile. Anyway everyone, thanks for watching. I'm heading out to Hawaii next week for the entire week, so I'll try and do a meetup in Honolulu at some point. I'll post some details on that early next week. See you in the next video. Bye everybody.